'tis the season for finales.
Fa la 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 champion.
Here we go!
Yo! We did another one. I don't know why. Welcome to the season finale, in theory, of the Super Fantasy Bros Super Podcast.
We got it, finally.
It's the finale for this season, at least. We might make more of these. I don't know. We're enjoying it. It's an excuse to drink beer and talk sports. We're going to need a new sport to talk about soon. But for now, we're talking Fantasy Super Bowl. So we're going to call Sean, because one of the Fantasy Super Bowl people, he's already
right
here.
here. You know it. So we gotta call Sean to troll him a little bit since the week one of the of the matchup has so far gone thusly my way, as we will discuss.
137.7 to 109.8.
Yo,
What's up, Brad?
what's up?
You are live on the Super Fantasy Bros Super Podcast.
What's up?
What's going on, Sean?
How's it going, Mike?
It's going good. It's me, Cole, and Shirtlift today.
What's up, boys?
Not much. We just wanted to call and talk championship matchup. You think you're gonna make it back? You think you're gonna mount this comeback?
I'm in the middle of searching for Gurley's address right now so I can take a steal type for his team. Go fucking Nancy Kerrigan on his ass.
I feel you, man. I was thinking about going that way with Mahomes since I was playing him in 3 playoff matchups, but looks like I didn't really have to because he was kind of like normal on Thursday.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else, though.
Yeah, dude.
That was a
Nobody
brutal
really did
playoff week. So many low-scoring
Yeah.
games for so many people.
Yeah, Juju let you down a little bit. Like Carson showed up, but
Kittle,
yeah.
not very good.
What are your initial impressions? It's by no means over. Let's just start with that.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's not over. I had some key players kind of out, including James Conner, and so I'm hoping he comes back. And, coming back, I hope it's not like a split with Jalen Samuels. I hope it's more what, Pittsburgh Steelers have been known to do with, just featuring one back. So, hopeful for that. And, I don't know, I'm hoping for a rebound game from Mahomes. Get some points out there.
Yeah, it's got a real high over/under up there in Seattle, Sunday Night Football. So I think that bodes pretty well for you. So yeah, and then it might be that you don't have to put the hit on Gurley as it is because he's got an inflamed knee that everybody's paying attention to. So
Exactly.
yeah, I don't think they necessarily need him to beat Arizona. They're favored by a line opened at 15.5. It immediately got bet down to 14, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to win by 2 touchdowns.
But on the bright
I
side,
hope not, because
Yeah, if I was McVay, I would just sit him. I would just fucking sit him and just be done with it. Just announce it early in the week.
Yeah, fuck you.
Just so that,
I think
you can really
what's
lean on that Marlon Mack.
What's worse, bro, is
man,
if they give him 10 touches and Goff converts in the red zone and they're up a few scores, like the defense turns the ball over, they kick some field goals, they're up like 17 on the road, and then they just choose to kind of like ride John Kelly or the Davis kid and just like be like, all right, So I don't think that Gurley's the lock that he usually is. So.
but if you have to have an injured Gurley going against any team in the whole league, you can't beat Arizona.
Arizona.
They're garbage.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible.
But I'm rooting for him.
It might bode well for you, Shirt, that Aaron Jones went down this week too on the IR. That might help the Devontae Adams. They might have to throw it more in Green Bay.
Yeah, maybe.
But right
That's a
now
good point.
they
But,
project
Adams,
Sean to outscore you this week.
Yeah, Adams doesn't seem to really need much help, but yeah, Zeke at home against the Bucks, I think, is really going to work out a lot better than it did this week. Don't you think, Sean? You got some high hopes, I bet, for Zeke.
I've got some plus matchups for sure, and so I'm hopeful to keep it competitive. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah.
Well, at least it wasn't the third place game, dude. Like, have you seen what Pat and Tim are just like blowing it. It's pretty pathetic.
68 to
Especially-
55.
Yeah, it was like in the 60s. Yeah. Oof.
So if either of us had blown it in the first round, dude, week one, you go back to the first week of the podcast. I predicted you and me in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Here
Yeah,
we are.
I mean, you seem to be pretty on it, seemingly, with the Alshon Jeffrey start and the fucking Marlon Mack bullshit.
Yeah. the Mac pickup was the start I should say was a little dicey because like it was really
You
like
had your lineup all over the place.
yeah,
Going
bro.
into the week.
Yeah.
You had Elijah McGuire in there.
Yeah, I started
Yeah.
McGuire late because I kind of like his talent, and I just didn't like the Gus Edwards. Like the Dixon split kind of made me nervous, and the game turned out to be a wet like slobber knocker, which really favored Gus Edwards. But and he had like 35 yards at half. He just had a nice second half and got a nice rushing touchdown. But he has a very low floor in my opinion because he doesn't catch a single pass ever.
Yeah.
So
You could set a respectable lineup with your bench from last week too, which is funny.
Yeah.
You'd have beat Tim or Pat with your bench
that's
last week
disgusting.
because you scored 84.9 bench points
Jeez.
with a lineup that basically you could set
Yeah.
minus the kicker. You've got a lineup there,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny.
Oh man, but I think we'll definitely each put up a lot of points. You're still favored to win the week as far as ESPN projections by 4 points or whatever it is.
13
Fuck
right now.
Mike. Fuck those projections.
13?
The garbage. Garbage projections.
I agree. Holy shit, it's moved up to 13 since I think Connor must have given you. Oh yeah, maybe that's what it was. Is that Connor's projection over when
I
you
think
put him
he's
in
gonna
over
play.
Justin Jackson. Yeah, I think he'll play too.
Because his first practice was last Friday.
And
So-
and the Steelers don't like to split the backfield, so if he's showing that he's healthy in the first quarter, the thing is that matchup fucking sucks. The Saints have allowed like 600 and something rushing yards all season. The next closest team is like the Texans at like 800. They're like 180 yards clear of the best
Yeah.
rushing D. So like the Steelers are gonna have to throw in New Orleans. So yeah, I'm not too scared of Mr. Connor.
Straight to Juju.
Yeah, exactly. And Juju's their road guy, so like that all sets up for Juju to have a big game actually. But yeah, I think
But fuck, man. Butker's fucking me.
has he really not been that great lately?
I don't know. He's just been inconsistent.
He had like 3 points on some Thursday, yeah, something like that.
He's been missing a couple of field goals
Mhm.
late. Whatever.
I'm afraid of Kittle. I'm playing against Kittle in both my championship games, so that and like fucking if the Niners are gonna throw anywhere, they're gonna throw to Kittle, and they're playing competitively lately.
They have to.
So I mean, Bears are not Bears. Eddie Jackson's hurt, so I'm a little nervous about that.
They
one.
also have two of the best cover linebackers in the game, in Roquan Smith and the other guy's name. Can't remember.
I think it's Danny Trevathan.
Yeah.
So my prediction. Let's make a score prediction. You're gonna predict you're gonna win with some ridiculous bullshit. But if I'm gonna be legit, I think you're gonna win this week like 125 to 110 or something like that. But I think I win in aggregate. What do you got?
I'm gonna hope that I can come and beat you, but I've gone through all 12 steps. I've come to the acceptance part.
Yeah, but at the same time,
I don't know.
27 points ain't shit, man. Like, how many times have you won by that margin, Like,
Sure.
I would say I am at 65% right now, or maybe a little better, because obviously, that's a good margin. The thing is, your team is real good. You just had a down week.
Yep.
So, as Mike pointed...
I mean-
yeah, go ahead.
I think we're overlooking like the Bears D. You know what I'm saying? Like they could blow up and end up scoring, a lot of points.
Well,
That's another question
let's
mark.
not underestimate the Titans D at home against Josh Jackson and the Redskins on Saturday afternoon. That
Josh Johnson, respect the name.
You might-
do some shit.
you might just fucking throw in the towel after the
Yeah.
second quarter of that game. We'll see.
The Titans D, there are holes there. I mean, I know that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
at home, but still.
The secondary.
I've started them a couple of times in this league, and this is my other league, and it's just like on shit. So good luck with that.
Oh, I feel good about it, bro. Like,
I'm hoping for the best for you.
this is a yardage league. I mean, how many yards can the Redskins put up at Tennessee?
It's
Who's
true.
a top 5 run D? Not many, you know?
Well,
So-
the thing is though, this is also a
Whatever.
league. This is also a league where some big fucking points get put up. You've both put up around 150 or 180 in like certain weeks of the year, so you just never know. Anyone can have a boom week.
Yeah. Bonus question: how's married life, bro? Congrats.
Oh, thanks. You too. It's pretty good. It's chill.
Yeah, man. Not a lot changes, huh?
Not a lot changed at all. We're
Yeah.
just like,
I'm
hanging out. Stress-free.
looking forward to seeing those sexy photos coming out on Facebook.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
We'll blow up your feed.
Blow up all of our feed, please. So one final question for the 2 Super Bowl contenders. As you well know, in our league, we have a punishment for the person who takes last place, and whoever wins the league gets the honor of bestowing that punishment upon them. You get to pick, for the person who took last place, you get to pick their team name, their team picture, and you get to design a T-shirt for them that they have to wear in public. Now, obviously, not everyone's a Photoshop expert or anything like that, so if you need help with your designs for a team picture or a team T-shirt, you can always call me, and I will hop on the Photoshop and work my ass off for you. So my question is, since it's obviously Jordan, which we will cover in the next segment, it's obviously Jordan who's getting the punishment again this year.
Oh, God.
I mean, how can you get any better than ambulance chasers? We're gonna have to find a
Oh,
way.
shit.
Yeah, that was my punishment to him, is that I named his team Ambulance Chasers 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Made a picture of him as a penis with a cum-stained lawyer's suit on, and made him wear a T-shirt with Cole's face on it
That's pretty good.
that
Who
said,
wants
"I am
that?"
the god of fantasy suck." So my question to both of you is, do you have something in mind for Jordan if you win?
Sean, you go.
Oh, I haven't even gone that far. I'm on to this week.
Do you think
I'm on
you'll
to
do
Tim,
good?
Tim Shirtless, my current opponent,
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. to
Thanks,
worry
Bill
about right now,
Belichick, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
But for real, dude, I mean, I don't know Jordan too well, so I'm gonna probably like need to defer some of the abuse to like those that know him better, like yourself. So once I do slay you as the dragon, you're gonna have to help me out with some punishment.
Oh, we'll figure something out.
Oh man,
It's not that hard. Just attack his credibility as a lawyer, and
what kind of law does he practice?
Yeah, he just got a white Audi too.
Oh, that's a
there
good
you go.
one. See, you know the dirt. Is it a sedan?
Yeah.
Like
for
when
sure. It's
when you pull up on it, you think a hot ass chick's gonna be inside, like an
yeah,
Asian.
it's just the worst. And then you just see, she's Jordan.
Oh
Great.
god, that's
The
perfect.
tinted windows roll down and you just see Jordan's face. And it's just like,
Hungover and
yeah,
disoriented.
exactly. Just like sweaty. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Sean. Well, before we let you go, as the season finale of the league, one of the things I'm letting everyone do is they're getting 30 seconds to say whatever they want to the rest of the league. Since Shirt and Cole will be with me when I do that segment, you're the only person who I don't have something for, so I'm going to give you your 30 seconds now. Say whatever you want to anyone. You can rag on people, you can brag, you can just update them on your life, or you can just scream profanities for 30 seconds. Whatever feels good.
Sure. Well, first off, I just want to thank everyone for welcoming me into this league. I think it's been really fun. It's been filled with great banter, like through this podcast and like offline as well. Yeah, and fuck everyone. Fuck you all. Especially you, Mike.
Thanks, baby.
Well said.
I like it when you talk dirty to me, so.
We're raising our glasses. Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
All right, man. Good luck, but not
Good luck.
really.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Fuck you.
Fuck
Bye.
you too. Late. All right.
All right. Well, that was Sean. And that completes those first 2 segments. We're already on a roll, people. And I'm still on beer, just like 2 or 3. So you know, it hasn't even gotten weird yet.
It's about to.
It's about to, though. Let's talk Cole Bowl.
Oh,
God.
Let's make this quick.
It won't take long
Nope.
because the Cole Bowl score is currently 117 to 46. I mean, you never know, man. You never know.
Cole was in second place for last week.
Yeah,
If he were in the championship, he'd
I
be
know.
making some waves.
I know.
Yeah. I'd have beat everyone in the first round of the playoffs except for Sean if I had like squeaked in there. That upset me horribly. But anyways, it looks like Jordan's got to deal with the fact that AJ Green, Corey Clement are on the IR, and Frank Gore is a doubtful for probably that has to be like the first time in his career, or at least in a long ass time, right?
He's
Been a
out.
long time.
Frank
Yeah.
Gore's out.
I know,
They-
but
the-
that's
it's,
huge that
yeah.
Frank Gore's not starting a game.
Yeah.
So Jordan's gonna have to throw someone in there, and
He's not going to.
he's got Marquise. he might as well not.
Why are you even
I
trying
would-
to make a mockery of this?
I would
That's the thing.
respect it more if he, just threw Alfred Morris in there. Although that's not gonna get him anything. Who's he got? Fuck. Throw T.J. Eldon in, I guess, and
I feel bad.
and I guess Jordy Nelson should go in over Marquise Goodwin, and then yeah, you're fucked. But it's the best. It's the best options.
I don't know the guy, and we've been talking about this league this year is gonna be really competitive. Like it seems like all teams could be, and then every single time I was like, except for fucking Jordan's team sucks. All throughout the year because it was just like, yeah, that's the one where it's just like, but for a time he was winning some games.
Yeah.
He finished with a better record than Teef, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He did.
Yeah.
But Teef, to his credit, he came into the playoffs and
Yeah.
he beat Jordan's team
Yeah.
and made his way out of the Cole Bowl.
I think
Well-
that they were two clear cases where, as soon as they realized they were out of it, Teef was still making lineup changes, but they were just done. They weren't competitive.
Chiefs team was
Teef-
better. I mean, it
Teef
had
actually-
Hunt.
And
He
now
had Kareem Hunt.
Derrick Henry's a top 15
Yeah.
running back
Yeah.
now.
Well, and theoretically, if Teef had somehow been in the playoffs for round one, he'd have even beat Sean. He had the most points for the first round of the playoffs with 272.7, which beats Sean by 1 full point. And that's it.
Wow.
So exactly 1 point, which is insane
Yeah.
for someone in the loser bracket who finished 10th in the standings. So kudos to Teef
He
for
was a couple picks away from a real good team. So.
yeah, and kudos to Teef for fighting it out because
Yeah.
you know what?
I can tell by his bench, he made late season ads and stuff.
And some people will go into that loser bracket and they'll just shit the bed all the way through. And honestly, that was why when it was when we had that first podcast of Pat and we were talking about how I was out of it and all that stuff, I was like, you will not see me stop. I am not photoshopping my own T-shirt. Fuck that.
Right.
And I'm afraid of the punishment. I will not do it. So if I can fight it, I will. And I might be able to finish in 5th place, which is quite an improvement from the 10th place when we had that
Oh, yeah.
discussion. So I will take it. All right, well, that wraps up the Cole Bowl discussion because it's not really a game. It's a terrible
Sorry,
fucking
Jordan.
matchup.
Sorry, Jordan, but
We'll
Who
see
won
what
it-
you
who
guys
won
can
it
come up
last
with for
year,
Cole.
out of curiosity.
It was Trisha, but she quit our league.
And
as
then
we've-
the year before was Jordan.
Mhm.
So it's basically a back-to-back Jordan.
Well, the year before that, it was Timor, but that was before we added the T-shirt. And so Timor's team name that year was the Turkle Jerks, and Pat had done
I think
a
that was the first year I might have joined.
yeah, and Pat photoshopped a penis with the war helmet that
Yeah.
Timor is famous for wearing to parties.
I was super confused. Yeah,
Timor wears that to parties all the time, or maybe not anymore.
that's pretty good though.
He has a lady in his life who probably tells him, "Don't do that."
Is it a German or an American helmet?
I think it was a German World War II helmet,
Oh my god.
which makes it all the worst. But
You do you.
new beer. All right. That moves us on to the next segment, which will be the final segment before we take a quick break. And then we'll move into just general football talk. And I have some final words from all of you.
Is that all we got for the league? Oh
Yeah.
man, I kind of want to just assert my dominance for a little bit longer. Come on.
Well, here's something that's fantasy relevant, and it's something that you can discuss for next year for continuing your dominance. It's who would be your first round picks for next year? The way too early predictions for fantasy
That was the
fantasy
one
drafts.
I remember we discussed.
yeah.
Man, this is gonna be off the cuff. I don't want to forget anybody, so I'm just gonna pull up some
Yeah.
people that are good right now.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Um,
And you know what? We can take a short little break. I'll cut here. All right, and we're back. So I'll start it off. So the way I did this was I did it less in the minds of what I think will actually be what when we're drafting we pick, but the early rankings that I think you'll see when you go draft, right? I think that ESPN rankings always change based on how the preseason goes, and obviously we have no idea who's getting fucking drafted, and that's going to change everything, right?
Right.
So that's why it's way too fucking early. But
Way too early.
Yep, way too early. Top 10 first round. I'm gonna start number 1 pick. I think everyone knows what the number 1 pick's gonna be. It's gonna be Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley.
Yep.
I was thinking about reasons to not have a Todd Gurley, but there's very few and far between. But there could be cases to be made.
Yeah.
Could be.
But I'll get to mine.
Yeah, my surprise second is Saquon Barkley.
Not surprised is my second.
I think he had there you go. I think he had such a good fucking year. My third might be more of a surprise, and that's Christian McCaffrey. But he was so fucking good this year, and that was remember I said at the beginning of the year, I thought that was Teef's best pick.
Mhm.
And I think that stood true
Fair.
all year. Alvin Kamara comes in 4th, and then I throw Zeke in there because you can always rely on Zeke to get you those points. And that's when I start in with Devontae Adams, who I think will be the first quarterback off the board at the start of the draft.
Really?
Wide
Quarterback,
receiver.
huh?
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Sorry.
All good. All
Whoa.
Getting real bold.
Oh,
Aaron
man.
How many years
Rodgers.
have you had?
Oh,
Aaron
man.
Rodgers getting replaced by Devontae Adams.
Everybody loves Texas in football.
There you go.
So,
He's making a Jason Wittenism because Jason Witten in a game said that he was going to pull the rabbit out of the head, and then on the Monday night game everybody was watching. He was like, "Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to have to pull the rabbit out of the head or something," and made fun of himself. So here's Mike, a whole episode later, realizing that he said everybody loves Texas in football.
big white guys, that's what we do. All right, and then followed by DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Brown to keep the wide receiver run going, because that's usually how it goes. Mid-first round, the first wide receiver goes off the board, and then a little mini run, but then Melvin Gordon sneaks in there because he's
Yep.
he's coming, in there, and he's fucking good. So I think he'll be right there. And then Tyreek Hill is my surprise 10th, just
Not a
because
surprise.
he's been so good. But what I wrote was I think any of these 3 guys could sneak in at the 10th, and it's Le'Veon, depending on where he goes and if people have
Totally.
faith
Yeah.
in him, Odell Beckham Jr. or
Yep.
David Johnson.
Okay.
I mean, David Johnson.
David was not in mine. He's a second round pick next year, I think.
I think that's
Did
great
you say
value
Hopkins?
for him. Yeah, Hopkins
Yeah.
was my second wide receiver after Devontae
Got
Adams.
it. Okay. So yeah, I would say your biggest. Did you say Michael? You didn't say Michael Thomas, right?
I did not say Michael
He's
Thomas.
had a he's tapered off, but yeah.
That's why I put Alvin up there, though.
Started-
I think in our league, especially because I figure we're drafting in the half-point PPR, so I think we're keeping that in mind. Alvin Kamara is going to have better value in our league than Michael Thomas probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
Add.
But I mean, they've shown they can sustain. They were both.
Oh, they're both good.
Top 2 at their position.
Shit, I'll
first
take
half
Michael
of the
Thomas
season.
in the second round, and
Yeah.
I will not complain about that.
But yeah, Cole, you go next.
So these guys have probably a better prepared list.
Well,
than
I mean, we
have.
just wrote ours at the
Okay.
same time as
randomly did
you.
this, but let's
Okay.
do this.
But I have Gurley 1, obviously. With our half-point PPR, I have Christian McCaffrey 2.
I like it.
Then I have Kumara at 3.
Mm,
I have Elliott at 4.
okay.
Then I have a sophomore slump for Saquon Barkley. That's 5.
The
Then
thing about him is I feel like his run style kind of avoids that sophomore slump because it's so just big and punishing and in your face. It's not
Could be.
finessey. And
It is finessey at the same time, though. That's
yeah,
the thing.
he's
Because
really good.
like when a lot of his tackles are like shoestring tackles where he's not taking a big hit.
Don't get me wrong. I love him.
I wanted him in Niner real bad.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then I have Melvin Gordon 6. First wide receiver, I have DeAndre Hopkins off the board
At 7.
at 7. Then I have Devontae Adams at 8.
Okay.
Let's just stay safe right here and go Antonio
I
Brown
would say that would be the safe
at,
man.
at
Yeah.
9, and then I'm gonna go Thielen. He's not super talented, but he is a PPR machine.
Yeah. No, Thielen borderline
So-
made my list. I deleted him for Tyreek Hill because
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
It's more
And maybe
consistent
that's-
play, I think.
Yeah.
In standard
because of
league,
that.
Hill has the edge for sure.
Yeah.
And in a PPR, it'd be Thielen, and a half point, it's kind of buyer's choice.
Yeah.
yeah, and I so have ate my words on trading Tyreek Hill for Julio Jones. It just has not worked out in my favor.
No, but as of right now, Julio Jones is still the leader in receiving. It's just he's not getting
Not getting the,
the
touches.
touchdowns, and
Right.
he still
That's
has the
thing.
receptions.
He is, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the league.
Yeah.
You know, but
Physically, yes.
yeah.
He's had the injury bug in the past.
yardage base,
but he
too.
doesn't this year.
He's the best wide receiver between the 20s. There's no
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So, okay, so after the aforementioned Gurley, I have Barkley, same as Mike, and I don't think it's much of a surprise. I mean, he's coming from an owner of him, and like that's where he has him, and the volume's there, the breakability, game-breaking abilities there. They got that left guard rookie, Will Hernandez, that run blocks extremely well. I think they're going to continue to just shape the team around him. I mean, it didn't really work out that well for the Giants' offense this year, and he's a rookie, and he still had this season. So he was the only guy that I considered that's how good he is to me.
Yeah.
I do not like Ezekiel Elliott, and I did not like him this year. I traded him in 2 leagues. He's my number 3 because he's shown that he can pass catch. You know, Zach Martin, he'll be, I think, healthier than he was this season because he's the best, probably offensive lineman in the league.
Probably.
And he's gonna have a better year than he did this year. And Dak's coming on. Cooper
Their
actually helped
center.
Zeke.
Their center hopefully
yeah,
will be healthy.
Frederick will be back.
That weird disease he's got.
Yeah, exactly. And so I do not like rooting for Ezekiel Elliott, but he's my 3rd running back or 3rd
All right.
overall player. Melvin Gordon at 4. I'm the high guy on Gordon, I guess.
I mean, I love Gordon.
I think it's just like I'm done underrating Gordon. I think he is who he is. Is 80 catch,
Yeah.
1,614 touchdown.
I
guy.
like him a lot too, but I'm not as high as Rivers as everyone else is. And Rivers might retire this year. He's old.
He's played so well this
That
season.
would make a big difference.
But it would.
Yeah,
So there's the kind of
obviously.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm
That's why it's
assuming
way too early.
Yeah.
if Rivers goes out in the AFC Conference Championship and plays well.
Thank you.
So yeah, and then McCaffrey's my 5. So that's a tiny bit lower than others, but I'm just worried about the durability concerns
I
because
know.
he's had a historical snap count for running backs.
God, he's such a baller, though, man.
I know. He's just super
He's
efficient,
awesome.
and then Cam Newton might be headed to surgery next week. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of question marks in my mind.
Absolutely.
And then it's funny because
That's always true of the Panthers, right?
I'm the biggest Kamara fan in the room, but I have him at 6, the same spot he was drafted in this year. He's paid on that investment. I'm afraid of overrating him because I feel like he's going to be lower in touches than all the guys mentioned before. Okay?
Is Ingram?
He's going to
Is
take
he-
another step back down.
Is
in
that
the
is
volume,
this
I
is the
believe.
last year of Ingram's contract?
I don't know, but I assume they're going to. Well, they might not hate. Sean Payton seems to hate Mark Ingram. So
Yeah.
that situation could change drastically. The thing is, Kamara, you can't just maybe. I don't think you can just slot him in like you could with a Melvin Gordon, Barkley
No.
that can take that inside running. He's
He's
not
more
that
of
kind
an
he's a
elusive
slasher.
bat. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I would still keep him at that 4 to 7 range at all times. Hopkins 7, same as my buddy Cole here.
Yeah.
I think he's just proven, and Watson is throwing real well
Yeah.
this year. Adams at 8, I love him too. He's shown just like consistency. I have Tyreek Hill at 9. I just Mahomes throwing him the ball. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
And then I actually have Antonio Brown outside of my top 10. I have Michael Thomas at 10 because
Okay.
if Breeze comes back and continues to play the way he's playing, like you got to take
Except
a
for
few
the last
lumps.
2 weeks.
Yeah, you got to take a
God
few lumps
damn.
apparently. But I mean, Michael Thomas has shown me he is the first player. I don't know what the numbers are, but he's the fastest player in his first 3 years to. It's some ridiculous.
I think
numbers.
it's
I'll pull it up.
3,000 yards, the fastest to 3,000 yards, and the
Yes.
fastest to 300 catches.
Yeah, it was like 300, 3,030 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's
It'd
the
be
only
real nice to
player.
have Drew Brees thrown to you, man.
But he is so
he's
good.
he's a
too.
talented
No, I know,
wide
I know
He
that.
is Drew Brees.
I'm just saying, it must be real nice to have Drew
Oh,
Brees
yeah.
thrown to.
Yeah.
But like,
so there's mine.
and on that note of Drew Brees, real fast before we break for a moment, who's your NFL MVP this year? For me, I'm really torn. I feel like it's a Mahomes Drew Brees race right now.
It's Mahomes.
Well, Rivers entered the conversation for some, but
I think it's gonna be Brees. I really do.
I hope it's Breeze, but the last 2 weeks have been shit.
Yeah,
And
I think Breeze lost.
Mahomes took first place. I think it's hands down Mahomes.
I think Breeze lost the race in Dallas.
Yeah.
He had a shit game in Dallas, and that was a
He's
massive
still got a few
game.
weeks though.
They're still the number one in the power rankings, but I think he has a better team around him.
I agree.
I don't
Um,
agree. I think
Like,
okay, maybe a better
Maybe-
defense, but like I
hell
think
yeah, he does.
I think the Chiefs' offense is got a lot
Far
more
and
to it.
away. If
Although
Watkins
losing Kareem
and-
Hunt is a big deal.
Huge.
Hunt and Watkins were huge for him,
Yeah.
and he showed it a bit. So his plays come down a little bit, but I wanted Breeze more than anybody, and now I'm starting to say it's got to be Mahomes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
I want Breeze too. It's the only award he hasn't won.
and that's why
MVP.
That's why I want it too.
that's why I think he will win it, because I think all of this aside, stats and like all of the play and everything aside, I think when you look at who's voting on it, which it's NFL writers, they're nostalgic too. They're gonna vote Breeze, man.
Right, and that's why
They very well
like-
could, but from my understanding, what the MVP is, it's not only who has had the best year, but it's what they've done most for the team. And Drew Brees is always up there, but put a second-year quarterback in his first year starting with that team, and to do what he's done, I think has made a bigger impact from where they are now.
I guess my argument would be that Alex Smith put up monster stats of that same offense, and Alex Smith went to the Redskins and just bombed. So
True.
that actually argues against Mahomes in my mind for an MVP.
Yeah,
It's true.
he did it for 10 weeks and then he fell off a cliff.
Yeah,
And
but
then the
maybe
Chiefs
Mahomes.
missed the playoffs or whatever,
Yeah.
where they lost against Tennessee in the first playoff match.
If,
But
but I mean,
Let's be honest. Did we really expect Mahomes to be even in this
Of course
discussion at the beginning of the season?
I think that
he wasn't even drafted in most leagues.
Yeah, that's true.
well,
too.
I think he was drafted,
drafted
online, but as a
yeah.
backup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think this just speaks to kind of how dumb the award is in general, and it speaks to how kind of dumb the Pro Bowl
Yeah.
awards
Oh,
are to an
God.
extent.
We will talk about that.
You want to choose an MVP, but like you can never choose a not quarterback in football. So the MVP is just kind of stupid.
So-
It is expensive.
I totally agree with that, and I still think the best award that they give is Walter Payton Man of the Year, and because that's all that what matters.
That's pretty.
Not necessarily
That's pretty
football,
cool.
but
Are you at a job interview right now? Because
actually, I am starting my new job
the service
January
industry.
6th. Yeah, for the Boy Scouts.
non-profit pieces.
Boy Scouts, Boy Scouts of America. So I'll be a district executive for the Mount Diablo Silverado Council. So
You
I'm
must
looking
be very
forward to
proud
it.
of yourself.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
Who
Gonna
is your
shove
daddy?
some Pinewood Derby cars up his butt.
How'd you know?
That's what I do. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
Smooth
I'm
wood,
in.
baby.
My
Yeah.
Pinewood Derby car was so bad, so bad.
I never won once.
I won all the time actually for that. I
Fucking
couldn't
Eagle
win.
Scouts.
I couldn't win the airplane one with the.
I didn't even get that far,
Yeah.
so how about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
neither did I.
But yeah, this is a good discussion.
Yeah, but you know what? We're gonna take a quick break for PPs, and then we will be back to discuss some NFL, and then you'll get to hear the final words from all of you.
Everyone.
And you all know this because you texted it to me, and some of them I don't want to read. All right, children, we're back. And Santa Claus made us some cocktails because it's the season finale.
Yeah.
I used some nice Maker's Mark that was minted during the Warriors championship run. The first one has the blue and gold wax on it. And It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm feeling warm and I'm feeling toasty.
Yeah, I gotta get the warm and fuzzies going.
And when I feel the warm and fuzzies, you know what I like? I like story time. And while we were getting ready for this last segment, Cole told us a nice story, and we're gonna let Cole do some story time while me and Tim sit here and.
So this past week, mostly because of the Saints, I had 4 matchups where I lost in the championships every single game. I've lost everything, all by 4 points or less. And in my big money league, I lost by 0.02 points.
It's quite a spectacular failure.
I
Yeah.
needed 2 fucking yards from Mark Ingram. What's that guy's name? That wide receiver who fumbled?
Yeah.
Tommy
Lee Lewis was taking a little jet sweep
Yeah.
around to the right side and lunging for the end zone line.
Fuck
Fumbled the ball
that
through the
guy.
end zone.
God damn it.
Touchback to the Panthers, really game-changing moment for
Yeah.
many people, including Brian.
Including me, who
So you're saying that Mark Ingram could have gotten that like tote? He was
Yeah.
he the running back?
yeah,
in
he
the
was in the
backfield?
running back in the backyard,
Yeah.
in the backfield, needed 2 yards, and I would at least tied the league for first place. And because of bench, I would have won.
Mm.
And that pisses me off. That moves me from winning $1,300 to now 4.
Oh man,
Yeah, that's
So-
that's a large dip.
That's a big money dip.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
that's a
that's
hard
my story.
defeat, sincerely.
fuck
Story
the
time.
goddamn Saints.
To Mark Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Any other painful memories from the last four the 4-point losses?
That was the biggest one, but Drew Brees sucked again. I needed 12 points from him. The light just turned off.
It did, but that's okay.
Okay. I needed 12 points from him, which Drew Brees, 12 points is nothing for a quarterback. He gets me 9.7.
That's tough, man.
9.7 for Drew fucking Brees.
So what was Mark Ingram sitting on? Just real quick, I was just like, how did this happen? How many points did he end up with?
Oh God, I
Like
don't
6
even
or 7? Or
No, he actually,
did something.
yeah, he had a good game. I don't know what it was.
He just needed
but
those 2 more goddamn yards.
2
Exactly.
fucking yards.
Uh,
That's
there
Sounds
were a
like
lot
that
of-
week where I lost to Pat, and if Aaron Rodgers had passed for the 20 yards
Right.
instead of gimping his motherfucking ass for
It
those
was
20
beautiful.
yards.
I think a lot of fantasy matchups this season for a lot of people were destroyed on Monday night, or won because the other person had people. Because
Yeah.
that game was not fantasy explosion
No.
at all. It was
He had 7.4 points. Sorry, 8.4 because I
Right.
had a PPR. 9.4. Sorry,
yeah.
I needed 11
In a
No,
PPR, yeah.
yeah. I needed like 10 or something. God damn it.
And Kamara did all right, but I lost championship because I needed a huge game out of him and Gurley. Got it from Gurley, not Kamara.
Kamara, and honestly, it's penalties. Penalties because the Seahawks lost because of penalties. 163 yards, I think it was. 10 or 11 penalties completed against the
Yeah,
Seahawks, which I'm-
penalties are a fantasy ruiner.
which
This
I'm
was a brutal
butthurt.
week in general. Like this is a week where like there was like 3 NFC East teams that played during the 1 p.m. games, and they combined for 1 touchdown,
I know.
and
I
it was
saw
scored
that
by
tweet.
Jeremy Sprinkle.
Yeah, it's pretty glorious.
Who
You
the
put it.
fu-
You put that out to the league.
Yeah, who
that's
the
a good
fuck
one.
is goddamn Jeremy Sprinkle?
He's a tight end for the Redskins, baby.
Yeah, but
This guy knows.
Third
I know
straight,
who he
fourth
is.
straight.
I know who he is, but who the
I-
fuck does Jeremy Sprinkle think?
I know who he is now.
He's the best muffin maker in Washington. That's who he is.
He must be, baby. Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man. All right, so that moves us on to our next segment, which is MVP and bust for the year, because it's the season finale. We might as well start talking. Who was your MVP, fantasy player wise, not fantasy team wise? And who was your bust?
Mine are,
I'll
like,
let Shirtless
fun.
start us off.
Mine are kind of fun, so like
Yeah,
if
you
anybody
start
has
us
any
off.
obvious answers, I think throw them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, the obvious answer for bust, it's Le'Veon.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that
But-
was the elephant in the room. I just
Yeah.
teeing you up.
But I mean, if we're going on like, potential that didn't just pan out, I mean, like You want a real good random bust?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's talk about those negative 3.2 points total for Mark Sanchez, who is a playoff winning quarterback. He is a playoff winning quarterback.
Yeah.
He has been to an AFC Championship game. I didn't have him. I
You're
just think
talking
that's
about
funny.
a deep 3 quarterback league.
I know. I just
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring up Mark Sanchez and the butt fumble
Yeah.
because I don't know if you saw this. He recovered a fumble with his butt. The butt fumble and the circle of life came full circle this season, which
did
also
not
makes
see
Mark
that.
Sanchez my MVP as
Yeah.
well as my bust.
People were pretty
Wow.
obsessed with that butt fumble thing, man. Like, yeah.
No, my bust, which I mean, he's not like a high end pick. Kind of a weird one, really. But I think like because so many people were like, "Ooh, I got this nice little sleeper. He's gonna pan out." He started to pan out and then ended up on the injured reserve. Would be Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones tricked me so many times into starting him and gave me nothing, over and over and over again. And then finally, once he starts performing, I'm like, yes, but I'm already out of it.
My other semifinal I lost basically came down to the fact that Aaron Jones got hurt in the first quarter of the semifinals.
Yeah.
Or another good one would be
Jamal Williams sucked his way to a touchdown that I would have won it for.
another good one, which I'm not biased or anything, just because I'm picking my own running backs. Will be Royce Freeman.
Oh, yeah. Great call.
Royce Freeman
Yeah.
actually is my bust call.
He
Yeah.
jumped, just launched up draft boards in the final 2 weeks of draft.
He was like my third round pick, I think.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like,
He was third
as
round
I
pick
picked
for the
him,
Broncos, too.
everyone at the table was like, nice pick.
Yeah.
I wanted him.
Yeah.
I know.
Sean Kim said, "Damn it, Mike," when I picked him,
Each
and I was
draft,
like,
turned
"Yes, I
into
did
when
it."
Someone's going to draft Royce
Yeah.
Freeman, you know?
Yeah,
Kept
I was like,
climbing.
I did it. I got him. I got the guy everyone's gonna be
Was
mad
it fourth
about.
round?
Third, I think.
Third?
yeah.
That was the thing. He was starting
Yeah.
to go in the third, yeah.
And like, the thing was, everyone was like, "Nice pick. That's a good pick." And I was like, "Yeah, I did it. I fucking did it." Or like, you know,
And then his backup makes the goddamn Pro Bowl.
well, I mean, I have his
Undrafted
backup.
rookie- First undrafted rookie to make the Pro Bowl.
I got his
Anyway,
backup on
we'll talk
free
about
agency.
that later.
Yes, we will.
But yeah,
those-
and then my MVP, I feel like it's Todd Gurley's the obvious one, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the one that like we would all
Well-
guess, right?
I think it's Pat Mahomes, but
Well,
the
sure.
obvious one because he was like a 14th round pick. So
Well, and that's
Yeah.
valid too. I guess like Patrick Mahomes would be the obvious MVP. I was saying like Todd Gurley's kind of an obvious pick because you picked him
Oh,
first
God,
and you
yeah.
got first
Yeah.
value, and
Right.
Yeah.
that can win a league
no,
sometimes.
it's a cheat code. That's why I texted Sean. this week.
100%, yeah. Actually, I guess I would have to say Drew Brees for me though, just because I picked him. He was like the 9th quarterback off the board, and
Yeah,
right
he
now
was
he's
a 10th
position
rounder.
4. And I
He was
mean,
my favorite pick of the draft. I think
Yeah.
after that first draft.
if Patrick Mahomes didn't exist, we would be talking a lot about Drew Brees.
Oh
I think.
yeah, no, he was like but at the same time, like he
Although
was,
Matt Ryan,
he was probably consensus QB7 or something in pre-draft ranks. He was just going late, and that's where you drafted him. And he returned QB3 value, right?
quarterback 4 right now, but
Right.
I
So
think
Big
by the end of
Ben-
the year-
Big Ben and Mahomes above him, I believe.
and Matt Ryan.
Right.
Matt Ryan, that's another good value pick.
That was mostly
Yep.
a waiver. Well, actually, I did draft him in
I
12
drafted
team,
him in
but I might have
12
picked him up in this one. I don't actually.
But he
recall.
had to be quarterback 2 for most people who drafted him.
I dropped him after week 1 after he had a shitty week 1 for my last pick in the
So
draft.
there you go. And I was
And-
pretty sure I picked him up. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a return on investment.
And bonus category while I'm at it,
Sure,
I got to give comeback player of the year to Andrew Luck.
I love it.
I
Yep.
love seeing Luck do good. I think the league's better with him in it. And I think if he had a good team, I think if Luck was on. So did you hear that someone called for this? They said if Andrew Luck had the same talent that Patrick Mahomes or Drew Brees had around him, that he would have performed better than them. I don't know if better,
yeah.
but I think the thing is he does not have a great team around him, and he put up. Let's see, what's his rank? He's quarterback 5.
5.
He's really, really good at the like spread him out
Mm-hmm.
offense, where it's just a bunch of quick stuff happening things.
He's-
And that's
I'm
the
so
thing.
glad to see him back.
Bruce
man.
Arians, I think, a little schemed him wrong
Mm-hmm.
when he had the like long, deep drop backs and the long passes.
That's never been his
because
game.
He's taking a lot of stacks, having a lot of durability issues, having to run a lot. Now he's like kind of already playing like an old man quarterback, but so well because he's like Tom Bradying it. When you spread him out, he's supposed to be accurate, read the defense.
Yeah.
Boom. So
All right.
yeah, I
So-
love that.
What are your MVPs and busts?
So I've got 2 MVPs and 2 busts.
I like it.
I'm going to start with the busts. So
I named like 8, so
personally, fucking Leonard Fournette.
Oh yeah.
I drafted him. What pick? 6 or 7.
oh no, that's a good
Overall?
bust, man. I avoided
He
him.
played 4 or 5
loved him.
games.
I got him in one league.
I had him
Actually,
last
in the
year.
trade.
I think
Yeah.
if you had him in your in his rookie campaign, and he just like fucked you in the playoffs, he was, you know how like you just get a bad taste after someone fucks you a little bit, and you just don't you don't draft
You don't
them.
call
again.
him anymore.
Yeah, you don't call him anymore.
Yeah.
I don't call Leonard Fournette no more.
Right.
Leonard Fournette, he's always
You're not
he
gonna
was
be-
always sending me text messages at 2 a.m. You up? But he never wanted to commit. You know.
Yeah, and so this draft next
Yeah.
draft season, you ain't.
Oh,
Gonna
I'm not
call
touching.
Fournette.
I'm not touching Leonard Fournette. None of us called him in the top 10. And,
I started liking him right before this draft, so I'm
Yeah.
really lucky I wasn't the 8th overall pick. 'Cause
Yeah.
I would have taken him, and I
Which
would have been screwed.
what I did.
there you go.
Anyways,
Other bust?
the other bust is Kareem Hunt, just because he was such a high pick, he was doing so well,
Second
and
half MVP over there.
I don't think he's ever gonna play
Well,
again,
You had it your
just
yeah.
because he was caught on camera. And the,
we actually had
it's a big issue, but being caught on camera doing it versus just being charged with it,
Cole,
it's like night and day.
I doubt you watched the previous one first. I mean, who would?
Yeah.
But you should have.
But the first 15 minutes, we did kind of just jump into the Hunt thing because it just happened a few days
Yeah.
before where the tape was released, and we just like kind of bantered about it. a
But
bit, and,
like, some of us agreed that he won't play again. Some of us think he might. But yeah, we kind of had the same thought. Like, you know, my thing has always been like I thought he, like, you know, off field issues aside, he was starting to ramp up like I said he would. Like, you know, I said he was going to end up like coming in, and then just turns out he's a piece of shit person. So
Yeah.
he's doing the right thing, and I want to just see where he goes with this. I mean, like he fucked up, and like
Big time.
yeah, big time. Yep, and he acknowledges that, and he's a young guy, and I don't think he's like removed from redemption if he does the right things and like really does the right things. I'm talking about like gets involved in issues and like doesn't just make it about his career himself. You know what I mean?
I think I've
So
watched
he
too
does
many
need to
talented
take some
guys,
time
though.
off.
I've watched too many talented guys, like, you know, pull stupid shit like this, and like say they're gonna do the right things, and then they just don't.
I
Like
get the
your
fe-
John
I-
Jones in the
I really
MMA,
get a
your
feeling
Alden
about him,
Smiths in San Francisco,
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Reuben Foster
Reuben
to
Foster.
the same girl. God damn.
But I always return to there are domestic violence issues going on throughout the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we just because it was caught on tape, we don't need to like turn a blind eye to other things that are going on.
Oh, no, I
including
think-
his own teammate Tyreek Hill, that from my memory did something way worse, at least alleged, than what Kareem
It's
Hunt
weird that,
actually
like,
got
I just-
convicted for or shown to be.
I didn't know about the Tyreek Hill thing when we talked about it on the last podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I, don't know
I think
about
they
much
bury
about
that
it,
shit
but
so well, and
exactly.
also the news cycle is just so inundated with the problems.
It
And
happened when he wasn't anything, and the charges were dropped, and
Yeah.
I think that's basically what happened.
and that's the thing with like the last discussion we had, and I think this is where I'll leave it at on this is that what Pat ended up saying was like really rang true. What rang true for me was that you don't see these problems in other leagues because they invest in their young people, and they teach them, you know, more than just like, you know, like get out there and hit that guy. They spend time talking to them about like, you know, this is how you manage your money. Like, cause you know, you don't see that happening as much in other leagues either. They talk about like, you know, don't go out and don't do this stuff. They talk about like, you know, stuff like that. The NFL, like, you know, when they even started kind of trying doing that, I remember there was some guy from the players union who's like, have a fall guy. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, get a fucking brain.
They give him an hour-long class, right before the league starts their rookie year, and they have to watch that, and that's I
And that's-
believe all the training they get.
That's just not enough.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
I thought it was really smart. He's not the. I think he kind of was self-aware that he's not the smartest guy in every situation. But when Des Bryant said to Jerry Jones, like, I want to basically have an entourage that's like going to like make sure I'm not fucking up. I'm where I need to be, and
Yeah.
just basically like make sure I'm contained.
That's the thing to do.
That's the thing that the Cowboys have always
He
done.
approached
though.
the team about that though.
Yeah.
Des Bryant did, and I thought that was actually very like smart of him to just be like, look,
It
I'm
is.
kind of.
Well,
You know,
you have a
susceptible to
once in a
getting-
lifetime
you know.
opportunity.
Especially
You
with
fuck it up,
Pac-Man
you-
Jones.
you
That's what they did.
You infect the rest of your career. Like, look, even if it's not like something as heinous as what Kareem Hunt did, but like if you're like Alden Smith who has addiction issues, or Johnny Manziel, you know, like fucking like self-awareness is gonna save you your life even. Like, cause like Johnny Manziel is not doing good.
Right.
I mean, look at what
There's
happened.
plenty of players.
Yeah, we can do this all day,
Yeah.
and that's the sad thing is I can do it more of the NFL than any other sport.
Yeah, it was supposed
Does
to.
it have
It's
something
because
to do with
the
all the
game itself?
concussions
It's the
and
game
hitting?
itself.
the
I think
hitting?
so.
I can see
Yeah,
that.
but anyway.
So,
we're
your
getting huge
MVPs.
issues.
Anyways, yeah.
Were we on bust right there? Is that what
Yes.
just happened?
Yeah, it was on bust.
Oh man.
Kareem Hunt
Anyways.
is his other bust, which is a fair bust.
It was a nice tangent. Let's be real.
Yeah, it was a good
My
tangent.
two MVPs, Saquon Barkley.
Oh.
He is fantastic.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's,
Every Saquon order
he's-
this season, except for if you were in the semifinal. He was.
yeah,
He wasn't that great on Sunday, but
But you know what? I'll take him.
he's
oh
just
man, we both are
a
in love with him,
great-
clearly.
Yeah.
Second
all
overall.
around back, who's super strong, super fast.
He's got a
and
lot of great
quite
fantasy
big.
years ahead of him too. I
Yeah,
think.
he's really fucking good.
He's the kind of guy you watch and you're like, when do we put him in the Hall of Fame? Like,
Yeah.
if he does this for 4 years, is he already in the Hall of Fame?
Well-
It's like,
The fact that he's doing it in New York too just makes it even bigger, just because
He just-
the
I
fan
mean-
base and everything.
after one season, you can never say that about somebody, but he has it
Yeah.
all written all
Yeah.
over him.
Yeah.
He's that good.
Yeah.
So the other one is Devonte Adams. I just think he
At the
is a
place where he was
true
drafted. Yeah.
a true number one now. I wasn't quite sure going in, and following him out of college at Fresno State, I didn't think he was worth a second round draft pick. And then his rookie year, he couldn't catch worth shit. Just dropped every fucking pass. And I don't know what happened. Maybe he pulled his head out of his ass, but
Yeah.
he's a damn good wide receiver now with a multiple PPR capabilities. You've got Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. Excuse me, sorry. Multiple touchdowns per game.
It's been so
Yes.
fucking consistent. It's
Yeah.
unreal.
It
Like,
is.
if you look at his points per game over the course of the season,
Yeah.
I can do this quite quickly.
hmm
In our league, it's
Oh,
pretty
weird. It's almost
daunting.
like you own him.
Yeah, he's just been sitting in this one slot in my lineup, and he just hasn't moved. It's
One bye week, and that's it.
17, 16, 14, 12, 24, 30, 15, 13, 19, 21, 15, 19, 17, 17.
So
This entire
14
season.
was that his lowest?
12 was his lowest, but like
Man, what a
for,
tough
8
week.
for 81 was
Yeah.
his lowest fantasy game.
That sucks. He sucks.
Yeah.
Drop him.
That is, and he's the number one fantasy wide receiver in our league.
All right.
so
Well, that comes down to Mr. Shirty over
that's
here.
a great one.
What's your MVP
And
and
you know
bust,
what's
baby?
crazy about that? To dovetail off that,
Yeah,
just that,
dovetail.
I think I turned to Cole, and I just drafted AJ Green in a separate league, and
Yeah.
I had Green Adams just right next to each other,
Mhm.
and I had Green right above him. So I was like, "Who would you draft here?" And the only reason I drafted Adams is because I'd already drafted Green in a different league.
Yeah.
But like like Cole was kind of like, I kind of like Adams or
Yeah.
whoever. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was Cole, and I was just like, okay, fuck it, diversify. And Jesus, that made my championship team.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. We started with bust, and Cole went to Fournette, who was his like disappointment as an owner. And so for me as an owner of Baldwin in 3 leagues, he was the most frustrating player to try to evaluate every week.
That's
It's
a
like,
legit bust, man.
as a wide, is he my wide receiver 3? Because he dealt with the hamstring injuries to start the season. No,
Well,
it was his
you
knee,
thought he-
knee injuries.
His
We all
knee.
thought he could be
Yeah.
a wide receiver 1. at the
He
beginning of
wasn't
the year.
healthy at the beginning of the season.
Right, and he admitted that, and I guess I didn't pay enough attention to that.
I was getting rid of a bottle cap.
It's all good.
But everyone thought he'd get better. And then he
yeah.
re-injured. I don't know if he
Except for
re-injured
Baldwin,
it,
I guess. But he's
or-
been dealing with shit all season. Like groin injury, he sat out week 14. He came back and scored 2 touchdowns against the Niners. That's the thing. Like every time you think about starting him after a decent week,
Yeah.
he burns you. So he's
And-
been brutal.
And Russell Wilson. He hasn't been himself. He's another legitimate bust that I was thinking about.
And I'm starting him
going
into a semifinal and a championship. So good God.
How much
Russell.
shit did I talk about Russell Wilson this year?
Yeah, and he had like 4 touchdown week the week
Yeah.
before this.
Versus the
13
Niners.
completions. He's
God
not. He's
damn it.
like I don't know. He is who he is, and we know who he is now. And he's not like a proficient drop back passer.
Nope.
He's an improvisational, like do it with no one kind of quarterback where he plays hero ball, but he
Yeah.
gets away with it because he's so elusive. So anyway, I guess my other guy I owned that was super disappointing is Jordan Howard. I would put it at 2. So like for me, and like busts are guys that just like had like Royce Freeman, Jordan Howard have very similar.
Oh, yeah,
profiles.
Jordan Howard.
You know, like,
Well,
and
you-
now Howard's had a 100-yard game, and then he just scored a touchdown last Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, who had the balls to start him in that situation? Because
No
they,
one.
they projected him as a pass catching back and like 20, 22 touches like he was last season.
Who's the
Not
guy
happening.
who
Cohen.
Cohen? Yeah,
Cohen
so
is just
I
like
drafted Cohen
amazing.
last year, and then Cohen didn't have the year, and Howard did, and then they flipped that game script right on you, right? It's like the opposite of the problem I had last year, where like I had Cohen, I was like, God damn it! And this year, if you had Howard, you'd have
Yeah.
the opposite problem,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's frustrating.
Yeah, so those were my 2 owns that were just like they're the ones that are stewing with me
Yeah.
this time of year.
Okay.
And then MVPs, I'll go with Nick Chubb because that pickup that
Oh man,
for a lot of people that
sexy pickup.
Yeah, that was just sitting there. I got him in a league, and that was a league I have a Gurley and Kamara, so
Yeah.
I just stole him from everyone else
If
basically.
we're talking MVPs, we got to throw George Kittle in that mix, right?
Yeah, if
Just
you
for-
drafted him,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
no one did.
my next guy will be similar to that.
If you picked him up on waivers, though, oh
Right.
God.
Right. So my next guy's
Yeah.
kind of a waiver pickup, but like Chubb, if he was on waivers and you picked him up and you've been starting him, oh my gosh! And I think he is going to be he's going to be a late 2nd round pick probably next year. That's just going
Ooh,
to pan
that's a
out.
bold call.
Dude. He is good. He's in a quite good offense. Yeah, I see big things.
Depends who's the offensive coordinator next year.
I
Fuck,
guess.
who's the head coach next year?
Freddie Kitchen seems to have earned the offensive coordinator position, if you ask me.
Do you think he's going to keep the head coach?
Um,
I think they're going
I think they're
somewhere else.
definitely not going with Greg Williams now.
Yeah.
We'll see what the new regime wants to do. One thing I do seem to think is that John Dorsey knows what he's doing
Yes.
as GM. And their ownership can just sit back and,
Watch.
take
Dorsey.
advice from Dorsey and then, end up deciding, okay, Greg Williams, you do get to go back to D coordinator because
Yeah.
it does fit. And Kitchens is
No,
going to stay as
yeah.
offensive coordinator. And then bring in, who do you think? Bill Belichick? Spiciest name I could have possibly thrown out. Go back home to
Wow.
Cleveland. But anyway,
Okay.
that's just a little spicy. And then
Spicy.
after Chubb, I'd go with my boy. I just want to talk about him is Kenny Galladay, just because he was a free agent pickup for many,
Yeah.
and he's been a top 20 wide receiver, and it's been a little sporadic. He had a dive like. I read off his box scores to Mike in week 7 when we were calling like second half MVPs, and they were solid. And he kept it going and started ascending a little bit, and then just like his box scores right before week 15 went from like 10 to it was like 13 to 8 to 4 to 1 point.
Yeah.
And it was like, how do you start this guy against Buffalo? And of course, 6 for 140 he
Yeah.
did, or whatever it was on Sunday on my bench. So I still love you, Kenny. I just should have
Yeah.
started you.
Yeah.
So those are my MVPs and busts. Comeback? Do we have a comeback player?
I mean, I went Andrew
I
Luck.
love the Luck pick.
Yeah.
I just love seeing him do that. I mean, I would have thought at the beginning of the season, David Johnson would be a candidate.
That's
for
what I
that.
was about to
Yeah.
say. It's just like I'm just glad that David Johnson's playing football again.
Yeah.
He hasn't been amazing, but hey,
Hey,
just
can't complain on
he's
it.
back for fantasy, and he's
Yeah.
a fantasy beast. I just can't wait for next season when that is not the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
speaking of comeback, not playing football yet, but Ryan Shazier, have you seen the progress he's been making
I
from
did see
going
him
from
doing,
completely paralyzed to doing deadlifts,
yeah.
and he looks like he's gonna actually be able to live without help
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So
Speaking of things that are pretty
That's a
cool,
good call. Honorable mention.
I have some awards to hand out for the year.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with a double award. So, this, well, actually, a triple award. It's fun. So it's biggest win of the season, which goes to Tim Shirtliff.
180.
It's also the most points scored in a week, and it also allows me to give the biggest loss of the season award, and that was against Teef. The final score, just short of a 100-point deficit for Teef,
Yeah.
was 181.5 to 81.8. When Teef got a -1 from the Jaguars defense, he got a 0 from Amari Cooper. And you know what? He had a player go off that week, which makes it even more
What
impressive.
was that?
Kareem Hunt got him 27 points that week.
Jeez.
But so you got a 10.1 out of McCaffrey, 5.7 out of Diggs. You get a 10.4 and out of Deshaun Jackson and a 12.9 out of Jimmy Graham. Respectable.
what week
What did his
is this?
quarterback do?
This is a week 6 matchup. And Andy Dalton got a 15.7. So, you know, like
Okay.
some respectable numbers, but -1 out of the Jaguars
There, I was
defense.
like, where's the D?
Yeah.
there it is.
1 point out of the kicker from Josh Lambo on Jaguars. 0 points out of Amari Cooper and a 5.7 out of Stephon Diggs. Just had
Yeah.
him.
Amari,
and you know,
Amari Cooper's a Raider.
81.8.
That's like
81.8 is a respectable week, to be perfectly honest. Like, it's not like, you know, a world beater, but it's like, it's not the shittiest week we've seen. Like, the shittiest
You
week
could
we've
win
seen
a
was
game
Jordan
with
at
that.
40 points this last week in the playoffs.
Sorry, Jordan.
Sorry, Jordan, but not sorry.
yeah, my team went
But-
bananas.
Tim's team went fucking bananas. So let's go down the line here. Matt Ryan at 28 points. That's pretty damn good. Todd Gurley, 35.5. All right, you know, I see the makings of something big here. You get a 17.4 out of Alex Collins. May God rest his injured soul. 30.2 out of the aforementioned Devontae Adams. And Tim even had a shitty player this week. He had 5.2 out of Sterling Shepard. If Tim's optimal lineup had played, he could have gotten another 7 points by starting Doug Baldwin that week and got him
Yeah,
a 12.1.
Doug Baldwin. That's
Fucking Doug Baldwin. He got an 11.2 out of Rob Gronk. He got 21 out of the injured reserved Emmanuel Sanders. Man, you've been through some stuff. 20 points out of the Texans D, though, and 13 points out of his kicker at Matt Bryant. Totals for an 181.5.
the highest score I've definitely scored in any league that isn't stupid because
Yeah.
that's a lot of points.
That's the highest points for the year. So then that brings us to the new awards, which are who scored the most points this year. I think you guys can probably guess this, but it was Sean's
Sean
team.
Kim. Oh,
1,610 points, 0.8
yeah.
forced
Just
during the
looked at this,
season.
Who scored the least?
The least points would be
Jordan.
Jordan. And how many less points do you think he scored over 12 weeks
300?
to Sean.
to Sean? Sean scored 1,610.
300.
Oh man, I'll go definitely over. I would go 400. Yeah.
600 points less.
Oh my
Scored about
gosh.
1,000 points
Wow.
this year.
That's what I should have gone. with.
Brutal showing from Jordan. And Jordan did not do so well in the points against. He ended up at the 6th spot. So if you're going to be at least points against, points scored, you need to be at least points against to have any shot at anything. So who do you think had most points against? While we're guessing. Because, like, what I would figure is, like, what do the records look like, with the teams that you've seen?
Timor.
That's a good guess, because it was Timor.
Boom.
Timor scored 1,449 points this year. But against him, he had 1,549 points. So 100 more points were scored against him. And that's really where, why he's not in the playoffs, because
Yeah,
legitimately...
his team is good.
Timor was the third most points scored. He had more than Tim. He had more than me.
Tim who?
Yeah, Tim Hooven. So he had more than Hooven. He had more than me. Then he had more than Chopik. And then he had more than the person who made the playoffs, Pat,
Oh, yeah.
who had 7th most points scored
Oh, yeah.
this year.
Well, he was on a tear. He went 4 or 5-0.
Yeah.
And then
he limped in.
limped in. Exactly.
But I mean, his points against were really low. Actually, Pat had the second least points against. Do you know who had the least points against?
Probably me. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Nope.
I'm trying to think.
You had the fifth most points against. You split the middle right there.
No, okay.
And
Let's go with.
you
I don't
scored
know,
the
Chopik.
eighth most points.
Chopik.
Chopik had the third most points against, actually, which is probably why he didn't make the playoffs, because he was above me and behind Hooven. Let's see here. No, Chopik was just behind me in points. So I was fifth in points. So most.
Pat would be the obvious guess, I guess.
No, you had the least points against. Damn it. With the second most points. That's what got you there,
Yeah.
baby. You rode 1,521 points this season, and you had 1,200 points against. So you had a 300-point advantage, and
I am the Rams. I'm basically Todd Gurley in the Rams.
yeah, hey, and it worked out for you. So that's the awards. You scored the most points against. Camera definitely didn't die at any point in there. I swear.
No, everything's good.
Everything went smoothly. But regardless, those are the awards. You know, you had the least points against. Timur had the most points against. Sean scored the most points. Jordan scored the least points. And then obviously best record goes to Sean. Worst record goes to Teef.
Most tight ends goes to Teef.
Most tight ends goes to Teef. And those are the awards for the year. And the biggest beatdown goes to you, scoring 181
On Teef's
over
face.
80 points on Teef's three tight end face.
Yep.
So that leads into the last segment, the final segment of our fantasy football season. May not be the final thing that we do on the podcast. Podcast may continue. We really enjoy doing it, but this is our season finale. And so I contacted everyone who is not on the podcast today. So we already gave Sean his 30 seconds to basically say fuck you to all of us. Apparently, especially me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what everyone wanted me to read out loud for them. And then you guys and myself get our last 30 seconds of the year as well. So we're going to do that. And then we might wrap up with a little discussion right afterwards about some rule changes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I wanted.
You'll stop paying attention to that point.
Yeah,
for
but this is the part they've all been waiting for. They want to
Yeah.
hear what they wrote.
sure. You're gonna hear yourself right now.
So if you're
Cut
not
to
watching, you're a bad person.
We should probably.
Anyways, so I'm gonna start with.
Music going right now.
I was thinking I'd put Hotline Bling underneath,
Oh, I love it.
the instrumental of it. Maybe I can get a MIDI version. Mhm. So I'm gonna start with Hooven because Hooven was gonna write stuff, but he had to rush into some stuff, and he didn't write anything down to say. But I just want to give you guys an update because you all know him, and maybe everyone can take a little time to send him a text when they get time, and just check on him. He got out of the hospital after the issues he's been having, but had to end up going back, and he's actually going under the knife tonight as we're recording this. He should be okay. From what I understand, they're just removing his appendix tonight. There might be other complications with what's going on with him, but that's the main objective tonight. But he's been through a lot the past couple months, so he didn't really have anything to say. So that leaves it to me to say, fuck you guys from Boston. Also, go Pats. There we go. That's what he would want us to hear. So then that moves on to someone who actually
Go
responded.
move.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Just be strong, man. We're
Well-
thinking about you.
Yeah. Yeah, we want him to do well.
Love you, man.
And we want him to come back next year because you did good this year, Hoovy.
Yeah.
You did very good, especially considering you were laid up for most of it. That moves on to people who actually were able to respond. So I'll start with Timur, which was a surprising one. It was, I want to give a shout out to everyone in the league. You are great friends, and I love you guys.
What the fuck? Is that a haiku or something?
I didn't expect that from Timur, but that is what Timur had to say to all of you. Then we move on to Pat Franklin, who was potentially going to be here tonight, but he's currently in the middle of a move. He wanted me to tell everyone that next year I'm going to actually try, and that means bye-bye. He rhymed, and I feel like that means he's going to take the last place next year. Rhyming is wrong. All right, moving on. So now we have Jordan, who, as we all know, drafted Le'Veon Bell this year and had the worst team. So I feel like this was a joke in Jordan's dry humor sort of way. His thing he wanted me to ask was just one question. Any way we can make this into a dynasty league?
Nice. I actually love it.
Yeah, so that's a good one.
Let's enter that into our rule changes.
There you go.
And Jordan, whatever you're going through, and you send messages.
Oh yeah. Jordan also
Good luck
did
to you,
mention
sir.
to all of us in the group chat that he's been going through some
It's
stuff.
been been a rough year, basically.
We
or
don't-
a long year.
Yeah,
Let's just
I don't know what exactly that all
Yeah.
is. He wasn't specific, but Jordan, we are rooting for you as well, just like Hooven. While we
It's all
all
about friendship. in
we're all
this,
competing
course.
against each other, but we all like each other too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most
in
part.
a fucking resentful way.
Yeah. So after I say all those nice things, excuse me, we move on to Brian Chopik, who asked me to sing to the tune of Gary Newman's Cars, which you guys will know is the song where it's like do 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 do. And the song he wants me to sing, I'm upset to have to sing in front of all of you, but I did promise I would. So covered in cum and dripping with yum, I can crawl on all fours. It's the only way to live. I'm Mike. Do 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 do. So that was Chopik's.
Tune into the YouTube, which you already are, for my full reaction.
So Chopik broke pole.
God damn.
And last but not least, Teef, who
Dripping
also
with yum. Let's just repeat that.
Jesus. Yeah. I am glad to have that on the public record. So Teef, who is also going through some stuff, apparently. So apparently, like, half of our league is having a down year in health or life, and so next year everyone should be up. It should be a
Hopefully.
good year.
Big ups.
So Teef said, have a great podcast. I don't have anything to say. Make something up for me if you want. If I could request one thing, clown on Jordan or something, or Pat. So what I did is I have a meme here that says, where did you get your fantasy team? At the toilet store? And that's for both you, Jordan, and you know what? Fuck you. You, Pat, as well. Because this is for Teef, and that's what he'd want. He'd also want me to call Pat the River Rat. So, there you go. All right.
The guy who can't think says something. Remember that part? Vince Vaughn to his crew.
Yeah. No, that was perfect. And so
Yeah.
that moves on to the final 30 seconds. I'm going to
Got
start
it.
with our guest.
Just defending champion this year. I still have the trophy. I look at it every single
Shut up.
day, right next to my TV while I'm doing nothing.
I can't wait to get that thing.
From first to second best.
Second worst, rather.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah.
So second worst to second best next year?
Hopefully.
Just lose the Super Bowl?
Do you have anything to say to any combatants you fought against this year?
It was a good run. I always enjoy this league.
No one cares about you. They want to hear about them.
Yeah. No, I have only good things to say about everyone. So.
Such a cop out.
And then.
Yeah, well, I don't. I'm thinking, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Nah, but for real. I just want to say it's been a fantastic season playing in this league because of the involvement that people have had throughout the chat and coming on the show. Fucking one of my favorite years of playing fantasy football, if I can be real. So super fun. Can't wait for next year and what we do with it. And yeah, let's go.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I've been waiting for this moment. First off, Brian Chopik with your slimy, uncircumcised, hooded penis. I want to put it in my mouth. Second, Justin Tiefenthaler. Colorado is for fucking losers. Should move away from there.
Pat's gonna write a book called Fuck Colorado.
I already wrote a book called Fuck Colorado. Next, Pat Franklin. I like the way you wear gym shorts.
Hey,
I can see which way your penis moves.
hey.
And that's nice. If not unimpressive. Moving on, Sean Kim. Fuck you too. Fuck you too. But no, seriously, would you fuck me too? I'd fuck me.
With Pat Mahomes.
Brian Cole, you got nice titties.
Yeah, I do.
Tim Shirtliff, you also have nice titties. And then, let's see here. What else have I not mentioned? Hooven, get well soon. Also, Boston is for fucking losers. Move back to California.
Good call. Jordan?
With better doctors.
Jordan, play better fantasy football just for 1 year. When you joined this league, Teef was like, hey, you just let a dark horse into the league. It's about to get way more competitive in here, and you have never finished above 7th. You are better than this. I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I missed Timor. Hire me to do your fucking wedding and give me some money. Did I miss anyone?
These are my confessions.
Me. Don't fucking draft Royce Freeman next year.
And you're probably going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I might.
Individualized messages.
I felt like it needed to be done.
That was good.
They needed to know. I've been kind of calm all year.
So, Mike, what do we do now?
I guess we talk rule changes and we wrap this bitch up.
Okay.
So you had some
The
proposed
finale,
rule
I'm
changes.
just like, I don't even know what's gonna happen here. It's all
Yeah.
ending so fast. You know, it was just here now.
Let's just be glad that the finale didn't end the way I wanted it to, where I'm naked.
Ah, yeah.
You'd
No
still
one
end that
wants
way.
This is a very good cocktail.
You could leave and we can. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Well, there. Well, now.
But Shirt did have some rule changes that he wanted to propose for next year, which I will throw into the group chat along with this video. So I'll put them up for vote right away. So.
Okay. And then Jordan was actually the first.
Oh, I guess so. He did ask about Dynasty
Yeah,
League.
his one comment that he wanted to make the league, if I recall what you said, is that anyone down to make this Dynasty League? Which is pretty funny because it seems like
That would benefit him as a Le'Veon Bell owner in some ways, but he also has
Yeah.
the worst team. Although he already dropped
That's
Le'Veon.
probably what I was about to say that's probably where the humor came from, but yeah.
But no, the Dynasty League, I'm pretty sure.
I think I might myself start a Dynasty League. 'Cause I'm thinking about starting my own league. I've never done one.
I'm in.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about because I know
With
so many
Luke's
people
league
that
gone, I
do
need a new
this.
league.
So I might make a super league at some point. But that'd be a sick Dynasty League, I feel, in some.
I've never done a Dynasty League, so I'd love to try one.
Yeah. So we'll see about that.
But I
as
don't
far
think
as
that
this
fits
league,
for this league.
One thing I was thinking about in the fact that I was thinking about rule changes is that I don't want to be a big boat rocker because I feel like this season was pretty awesome. The one thing I think we are trying to dial in, and the thing I'm continually trying to refine, is the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, because we did a big improvement by taking week 17 out.
I think so.
Because I guarantee you this year there are going to be players that have been there all season that are going to have buys in week 17 because their team's playoff implications aren't there. You know, Rams, Saints, Chiefs,
Yeah.
Texans, Pats, whoever it might be who's already locked up a bye, they don't care anymore. So anyway, I feel like that was a good call, but a 2-week playoff system, it's fun, but I think it limits the amount of fun that everyone can have because it's a 12 weeks regular season.
Yeah.
So that's the leeway you're trying to work with. And so the different options we've talked about are in a 12-team league, you have a 6-team playoff where the first top 2 teams get a bye. In a 10-team league, that makes it so that 6 teams make the playoffs. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing's up for debate. But it's kind of nice where the top 2 teams get a bye, sort of like the NFL playoffs. So that's one thing to consider. One thing you can do alternatively is turn it into a 1-week playoff, 14-week regular season, just one and done, they're just let's go.
And that means you got to strategize a lot more for those last 2 weeks.
Exactly,
Plan
and
ahead.
they're more consequential. And I personally would have felt like it would have been more fun to just like play against Sean and just like let's go and like it's this one fucking week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm more partial to the 1 week playoff. But another thing that you threw out that
That's
I did
yeah.
think was interesting is a
1 week, first round of the playoffs.
semi and 2 week championship or
Yeah.
a third place game.
Yeah, so the
or-
third and fourth place game would be 2 weeks. The championship would be 2
kinda
weeks.
like that.
And the
Now-
Coal Bowl would be 2 weeks.
The one thing to consider there is that ESPN is incredibly terrible and stupid. And I guarantee you they will not have settings to be able to keep up with that. So
They let you customize the playoff structure to an extent, so I'd have to look into it.
I'm
And
willing to
ideally,
bet
I would
a
like to stay with
dollar.
ESPN because of how many customs I've put into our rule set
Yeah.
at this point. It's insane, which I love. I love our rule set. I think our rule set is one of the best indicators of fantasy talent that I've played in, because you have to actually consider a lot of things, and like you can't just like defenses are not inconsequential. Like sacks are not inconsequential. Like your kicker.
Yardage is not inconsequential.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Everything's
It's not
consequential.
all turnover based.
It really comes down to like making good choices. But that all being said, if we had to switch platforms, I would like to hear if people do want to switch platforms. It comes up every year, and the vote always ends up a 50-50 split. And as
pretty
people,
indifferent.
yeah, I mean, honestly, a platform's a platform. Really,
ESPN
at
is
this point.
as a fantasy platform, it's not bad.
No,
just,
it's good communication. It's very easy to use app.
It's just it all depends
Yeah.
on what you want. And
Yeah.
For the purpose of this league,
Teef
it's
very
what we
much
want.
has mentioned all year that he'd like to bring up the idea of moving to Yahoo. I personally think Yahoo is a garbage platform.
I think I used to have that opinion, but I'm starting, at least for fantasy basketball, I started a league on Yahoo Fantasy Basketball because their ESPN platform apparently was like gutted to a certain
Yeah.
extent. Same engine as this one, but like people are like, these changes are terrible. Obviously, completely different game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ESPN Fantasy Football is working for us right now, but like there are other platforms. I use one called Flea Flicker that's like very stripped down, but
Yeah.
it might offer the kind of customization of a playoff system that's atypical of most. So,
And I might have to spend, fucking 4 hours going through every rule one by one to figure it all out, which is fine. I'll
sounds
do it.
great for us. I mean,
Sure.
I love that you're like
The-
laboring in the off season for us.
I labor in the off season
Whatever
every fucking
platform we
year.
decide, I just want easy access on the apps.
Yes.
Make it. I
That is
know,
so key. You have to be able to draft on your phone.
Yeah,
That's
and
number one.
I know, like
That's a great
Chopik
point.
is not gonna go on his computer. He's gonna
Yeah.
do everything
I
through
think
his
that
app.
as far as accessibility,
Yeah.
that narrows us down to Yahoo or ESPN.
That's what I think.
I think so
those
too.
two.
And one thing I
Maybe
have.
CBS, but I don't like CBS.
I've
I don't
never
like
even used
CBS
it.
It's
either.
not good. Or NFL, they're both kind of crappy.
Yeah.
And one thing I have heard from Chopik is that he would also prefer Yahoo because he plays all his other leagues on Yahoo. And maybe that makes Chopik a contender. Although, based on how he's performed in his other Yahoo leagues, apparently not.
0-13, and
And yet-
everyone makes the playoffs. And now he's in the championship league.
No way.
His
Yeah.
first game of winning, he takes the number one champion who had one
Number
loss.
one seed, yeah.
He had one loss all
But then he
season.
won again.
And then he won again.
That's
and
insane.
And so he's had Derrick Henry.
Oh, that's why.
But the championship
good.
week, he did not play him, and he had like 47 points,
And he still won.
and he still won versus the number one seed. And then he plays Derrick Henry this past
Well,
week.
yeah, I don't
And
blame
he
him
won
for not
again.
playing him against the Jags.
Yeah.
I thought he would just had him in his lineup because he's 0-13.
I was surprised he
But
still
yeah.
had him because
But
it's
so-
an 8-person
okay.
league, and there's so many people in the free agency. I would have dropped his ass.
What's
a long
important
time
to
ago.
remember about this story is not just that Chopik was 0-13 and he's only won his games in the playoffs and is now in the championship game, guaranteed to win money, from what I understand.
Yes.
But
Damn
more fascinating about that story is that last year he won that league and was also the last seed in that league
Yeah.
and won the game.
And I was the number one seed. And he beat me. Yeah. So That was fun.
So Chopik, this, as we wrap up the season finale of the Super Fantasy Pro Super Podcast, is your moment to shine in some other league, and take that hooded slimy penis somewhere else. Goodbye.
Hang on.
Wait, we're
Wait,
hanging on.
wait,
I lied.
Wait.
I'll drink my whiskey while we hang on.
I just want to give you this really stupid stat.
Mhm.
I just want to give you what Derrick Henry would have done for a full length season, fantasy season. You know, if you took his last 2 weeks.
Mhm.
You know. So let's just do this.
Oh,
real
so
quick.
so if his last 2 weeks averaged out,
Yeah.
and then that averaged across 16 games.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
So we have.
So he'd be the
I'm
number
at-
one.
I'm at 400 carries. I'm at 3,264 yards
Hot damn.
Wow.
and 48 touchdowns.
Hot damn. All right, you know what? Since I already did an outro, I feel like the one person who hasn't done an outro all year, Mr. Shirtliff, should really kick us out.
Skiggity boppity boo.
Okay, maybe Cole should do the outro.
I don't know how I could beat that.
Okay, I was just playing.
Fuck.
Mike.
In the ass.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That's the outro. Fuck Mike in the ass.